Welcome to Val's Sweet Kitchen. My lemon cake has lemon filling, and that just makes it a ray of sunshine in every bite. So preheat your oven to 350 degrees and let's go have some fun. The lemon filling is exactly what we're going to start with, so it has time to cool while we make everything else. You take 1 cup of lemon juice, and that's about 1.5 lemons, but zest them first because we're going to use all that wonderful zest. There's great flavor in lemon zest. And be careful not to go too far down to the white because that's bitter. And then to a saucepan, add 1 cup of sugar, and to your lemon juice, add 3 tablespoons of cornstarch. This is going to make it nice and thick for in between the layers of the cake. And whisk that all together right away so it doesn't clump up. Take a 1/4 teaspoon of kosher salt, and we're going to put everything into the saucepan now. And also take 1 egg and beat that. All that delicious, flavorful lemon rind, the lemon juice with the cornstarch, and the egg. And whisk this all together on medium heat until it comes to the boiling. And make sure you have plenty of room in the saucepan because it's going to increase in volume as it bubbles. There we go. Look at that go. Woo-hoo-hoo. And we're just going to whisk it and let it boil for 1 to 2 minutes. This is going to have the cornstarch do its magic and thicken this up. And then pour it into a heat-proof bowl to cool down and chill. Cover it with cling wrap and make sure it touches the filling so a skin doesn't form. And set this aside in the refrigerator to chill while we make the rest of the cake. The first thing we want to do for the cake part is we're going to take the egg whites and whisk those to stiff peaks. And I always separate my eggs outside of the bowl. That way, if a yolk's going to burst, it's going to burst in here and not in there. And whisk those to stiff peaks, but don't over whisk them. You know you over whisk them when they're separated. That's about as stiff peaks as you want to get. There you go, see? And set those aside in a separate bowl because we're going to reuse this bowl. Then take 1/2 cup of butter and cream that with 1 cup of sugar and 1 tablespoon of lemon zest. And that will pretty much account for 1 lemon plus the 1/2 lemon left over from the filling. And beat those together. Now in a separate bowl, put all your dry ingredients. You want 3 cups of cake flour. There's a difference between cake flour and regular all-purpose flour. 1/4 teaspoon of kosher salt, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and 2 teaspoons of baking powder. And mix that all in there. The baking powder kind of does its own thing. The baking soda needs the acid from the lemons to do its thing. And sift those all together. And we'll just help those last ones through. And then to your 2/3 cup of milk, add 1/4 cup of lemon juice, 1/3 cup of oil. The oil is going to moisturize the sponge. And then 1 teaspoon of lemon extract, just for a little extra punch. Stir those all together, and now we're ready to make our cake happen. And now to the butter, add your 2 egg yolks. In general, whenever you make a cake from scratch, you usually start with the dry and end with the dry. And you do it in 3 parts. And then we'll add about 1/3 of the dry. I pulse it because otherwise the paddle could hit the flour at just the wrong angle and make everything all over the place, like it almost just did. Just add in the rest. And then the last bit. And now we're going to fold in the egg whites. I like to use a whisk because that handles the egg whites less and the batter less and folds them in more efficiently. That way we don't lose all that air that's beaten into them. Now I use cake strips, and all they are is just strips of fabric, and what it does is it slows down the baking process so a dome doesn't form. You'll get a flat top every time. And you want to bake these for 30 to 35 minutes. That's your window. Or until a toothpick inserted comes out clean. And you'll notice it's already starting to pull away from the sides as it cools down. So let it cool in the pan for 10 minutes and then flip it out. Perfect, look at that. And let's move on to the lemon cream cheese frosting. All you do is you take 1 stick of butter or half a cup and 12 ounces of cream cheese, which is 1.5 bricks. And cream those together. Your butter should be at room temperature, and the same with the cream cheese. So that way they're gonna cream equally together. See how light and fluffy it just whips around there. And you're gonna need 1/4 cup of lemon juice and the zest from those lemons. That's about 1.5 lemons. We put the lemon zest in early on so it can start releasing its flavors through everything. Give it one final scrape. So now that it's all light and fluffy, we're going to add 5 cups of powdered sugar. Don't add it all at once, just a little bit at a time, and alternate it with the 1/4 cup of lemon juice. And here's a trick to keep the powder from going all over the place. Just put a towel around it and pulse it to start it. Just put a little bit in each time. I already have my 5 cups measured out in here because that's 600 grams. There's also cornstarch in the powdered sugar that's made in America, and that helps stiffen it up. If it's a little too soft for you, just go ahead and put it back in the refrigerator. It'll firm right up. Now everything's ready for assembly. This is my favorite part. I get the pipe. Put a couple of dollops on here like this, and just make a thin layer. We're making a thin layer for the lemon filling, kind of like a pool. Oh yeah, look at that. Just make sure it's nice and even. We'll put a thin layer on the top, nice and creamy. The sponges, that's the cake part, it's called a sponge. The sponges are very delicate, which makes for a nice crumble and a nice cake. For the decorative ring on top, take a bit of yellow food gel, mix it all together, and pipe it around. This makes another pool for our lemon filling. And there's just enough filling left. Perfect. And I just happened to have found lemon truffles when I was in the store. So how about we just put some around there and decorate it a little bit more. having lots of fun. I hope you had fun today. If you did, give it a like, subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to boop the little bell so that way you'll get notified when I release videos. Leave in the comment what you want me to make next.